G'day folks, it's DIY Guy 123 here, bringing you another do-it-yourself video. Today, unfortunately, I'm not going to show you how to do something, but I'm going to tell you a story about things I learned today that I'm hoping will be helpful for you. So I had a friend come by and ask me, hey, can you look at my brakes on my car? They're pulsating. I don't know what's going on. And he said, it shakes really bad when I press the pedal. Okay, so I get in the car, driving the car, without the brakes pressed, no vibration. Wheels are all balanced, perfect. When you press the brake pedal, you feel the body shake, maybe violently or like pretty hard. The body shakes. But I don't feel it in the steering wheel. So I'm like, well, if you feel it in the steering wheel, it's usually front brake discs that are warped, for example. Or I know some people don't like the term warping for disc brakes, but like some imperfection in the travel along the sweep surface of the disc is not smooth. It deflects, or maybe it's thin in one area and thick in another area, causes a vibration. If you feel it in the steering wheel, usually it's basically almost a sure thing it's the front end. If you don't feel it in the steering wheel, it's not the front end, which means it's the back end. Well, I pulled the parking brake on slowly and while we're driving and could not feel any vibration. Well, the parking brake in this, it was a 2015 Ford Focus. The parking brake pushes the shoes out in the back drums, the same as when you press the pedal. So if I pull the parking brake on and there's no vibration, then the vibration when I push the pedal is not coming from the rear wheels. So I thought, well, it must be the front somehow. So I took the wheels off of the front and looked, and I could see these discs. Now these discs, where I'm from, there's salt used on the roads. Discs look like that after a month in my environment. They look very good to me. The surface, the sweep surface is very clean. There's not much of a ridge built up around the perimeter or in the inside. I would say that's a healthy disc in my environment. So I thought, well, maybe it looks good, but it's got deflection in it somehow. So I ended up not wanting to just replace parts and spend my friend's money on parts without knowing for sure what was going on. I used the dial indicator, which these are pretty cool. I'm glad I got one of these. This is about 15 bucks and this apparatus is about 25 bucks. So for under 50 bucks, I have an apparatus that can measure deflection. There are probably lots of YouTube videos on how to use one of these, but I just want to point out that what I did was I put the magnet part, which is this part right here, I put the magnet on the strut, and then I positioned the dial indicator on the outer edge of the disc, not the inner edge, but the outer edge, because any warp here will be magnified and easier to detect at the outer edge. So basically I put it on like this. And as I spun the wheel, I realized without the wheel on, there's nothing holding the disc tight to the hub. So that's no good. And you can't even use the factory lug nuts because they have this cap on them and you need to screw them down in the studs so far that they contact this. So you need to get a set of wheel nuts like this, which is the exact same as what I showed you, but with that stupid chrome aluminum cover ripped off it, but the stud passes right through. So you tighten these down. Now you don't need to torque these up 100 foot-pounds or anything like that. You could probably crack the disc if you did it that way. You're gonna tighten them up snug, and that's it. I don't know about a foot-pound rating, maybe 30, something like that. Hard as you can with your hand on the top of the ratchet, not out at the handle. So anyway, you put 2 of those on, you don't need 3. Put 2 of those on, and now your hub is, your disc is secured to your hub. And you're gonna rotate, you gotta put the thing in neutral, rotate the disc, and you'll get a runout reading. Now, I was pretty disillusioned because I felt for sure that it had to be the front because, as I told you, the parking brake didn't cause any vibration, so it had to be the front brakes. The only thing that was causing the shudder was the brake pedal, so it had to be either the discs or the calipers or the slide pins or the caliper pistons or the pads or something screwed up there, or the disc is almost always what it is. So I checked the caliper slide pins, they were fine. The pistons went in and out, no problem. The pads looked pretty good, and the outer edge of the disc looked good on both sides. But when I took the caliper off and looked at the other side, By the way, outside of both looked good like this, but the insides both had this weird problem, which I'm going to show you right now. So if you look at this, I'm hoping this will come up on the camera. We've got first off, only 60% of the sweep surface does not have corrosion. 40% of it is corroded badly. So that's not a good sign. So that would mean these should have been replaced anyway or turned down. But I'm hoping I can catch the light for the camera. There we go. This all seems pretty smooth right here, except there's this area that it gets interrupted. The sheen gets interrupted, and that to me looks like the disc or the pad would have a certain amount of friction all along this smooth area, and then the amount of friction would change right here, either more or less. And I don't know what the coefficient of friction is for corrosion gobbledygook, but anyway, that coefficient of friction would be different for this sweep area versus all the rest. And the other disc had the exact same thing. It's fairly smooth, and then this horrible area. And in fact, there's a chunk, like a delaminated part right there where the corrosion built up too big and flaked off. So what that would result in is a certain braking force for this whole sweep pattern, and then a different braking force against the vehicle for here. Well, I was hoping that was going to be the answer, and indeed it was. I put new discs on, took all the caliper pins out, re-lubed them, checked everything, checked the pads, put the same pads back on because they look probably 75%, and put it all back together, and it worked like a dream, like brand new. So I've probably done, I don't know, 30 or 40 brake jobs in my life. I'm not a professional, but I've done a fair number of them. And this is the first time I've ever seen this situation where an uneven wear pattern in the disc is causing no pulsation in the steering wheel, but it is definitely the front discs. So in case you get caught by the trap that I was, that, hey, if your steering wheel doesn't pulse, doesn't shake back and forth, it's got to be your rear wheels. That was not true in this case. So hopefully this is helpful to you. And in our case, we could not tell from the outside of the disc. The outside looked good. It was the inside that was faulty. So good luck with your do-it-yourself projects. And if you like my videos, please subscribe and give me a comment. It's always helpful to hear if any of this is useful to you. Okay, have a great day. Bye.